Hey guys, hello and welcome to another episode of What the F is Founders Office. So far in the series, we've started having conversations with other folks in Founders Office. Last episode, we spoke with Karan, who transitioned from being a Founders Office guy to being a founder himself. And in today's episode, I've got a very special guest with me, Mayank, who's currently working in the Founders Office at Zamp. And I would like to hand it over to Mayank to give a brief introduction about himself. And firstly, welcome, Mayank. Thank you so much for taking time out on a Sunday. I know it's pretty hectic for you, so really appreciate you taking time out for this.
No, thank you so much, Rajit. Really excited to be here and thank you for having me here. Yeah, so my background, I've done my undergrad in economics honors, and along my undergrad, I was able to do some projects with startups like Finshots and Torchit, which were in the fintech and social improvement space. After undergrad, joined Urban Company as a category manager. So I was part of the team that built the full home cleaning category from scratch and launched it in the top 8 cities in India. After that, I was experimenting with something of my own in the cross border commerce space, wherein I was importing some materials in bioplastics and I was supplying it to some manufacturers in India. I had to scale it down after almost a year of experimenting with it. And post that, I joined Mesa School of Business to do my master's in startup leadership. Had a really great time there and met and interacted with a lot of great folks, learned a lot of things. And yeah, after Mesa, I was able to join Zamp in the capacity of founder's office. And yeah, it's been like good 5 months in Zamp. And yeah, that's more or less my journey
Wow.
so far.
And one interesting commonality that I've been observing across people who are working in Founders Office, who have worked in Founders Office, is that pretty much most of them have experimented with their own startups at some point in their life or would want to do it again at some point in their life. So, firstly, I'm still stuck on that Finshots thing because I think last time we met, we were also discussing. I'm myself is a
Yeah.
big fan of Finshots. And how was that experience for you? How did that allow you to build things or gave you that freedom to experiment in your career ahead, build your own startup one day?
Doubling down on the FinShot experience, I think it was when I was in undergrad and one of my seniors connected with Pawan, who was the founder then, and it was like only a few months old. I was one of the first 500,000 subscribers of FinShots, and yeah, it was very young. When I met him, like when Pawan was saying that, okay, we have like they were right fresh out of IIM Ahmedabad, and they were like building this out of IIM Ahmedabad, and they had a student loan on them. They foregoed a offer of 30 lakhs plus per annum. And they had to manage the finances for their business and as well as manage finances for their own personal life. So I think it was really shocking for me. And me back then was not able to process what decision making is this. It was like absolutely mad. But then that's what, like, over time, when I've continued to meet such people and the stories that they have shared, like, it's been very inspiring, and it shows that, okay, it's like being a founder or like building something is not easy. And yeah, you have to really believe in what you're doing, and yeah, nothing else matters. So it was a very small project. We had to increase the reach of Finshots. I held some positions at the finance cell of my college. So I was able to connect them with some other colleges. So that's what I was working with Pawan on. Yeah, I think we reached some 3,000 to 4,000 subscribers by the end of it.
Wow. Yeah. That's a great achievement and very impressive turnaround that within a few months you were able to increase the subscriber growth by so much.
And it was only weeks. Yeah, like 2 to 3 weeks.
Incredible. That hustler mentality that despite just being an intern over there, despite not having done that before, you had that grit, that determination to be able to execute it. I think one, again, common feature that I've observed is most of us are strong executionists as well as being strategists in everything because the founder himself has to be exceptionally good at executing things. So that's really impressive to see. I would like to then probably talk a little bit about because your journey has been very interesting in the sense that worked at urban company for a while and then you then moved to building something of your own. How did that pan out? Were you always looking to build something of your own? Was that always at the back of your mind? That's why you transitioned from your role at urban company to having your own startup.
Right. Yeah, one company was also like a really great experience. We were given the task of setting the supply up, in-house supply for full home cleaning category. Little bit of context: before this, urban company tried to build that supply like twice in the past. That's what the brief that was given to us. This was their third attempt. So yeah, like we had some pressure on ourselves to make it happen for sure this time. We started experimenting with a few models. I think like the first three chosen cities for pilot were Bombay, Bangalore, and Delhi. And then I was tasked with doing the pilots in Bombay, and we were able to achieve successful pilots. And then we scaled it throughout India. Towards the end of it, it was a very dynamic role. A lot of ownership was also given at Urban Company. So I was able to learn and pick a lot of skills around operation strategy and analytics. Towards the end of it, why did I choose to start something of my own is because I studied bioplastics during my undergrad, wherein I did an exchange at University of Minnesota in US. And I was like passively following the trends in India, and like the time was pretty right. I saw bioplastics picking up even in like deliveries and other things. Like now we see that, okay, most of the companies, including Swiggy, Zep, everyone, they use these bioplastic bags when
Yeah.
they deliver their orders. But then at that point it was very nascent. And then the manufacturing of it was developing in India. So like I had some knowledge of it. So I thought that, okay, it's opportunistic to like maybe take a crack at it. And I knew that like some of the problems that these manufacturers are facing could be solved from the materials that are available outside of India. So yeah, that's when I like started having these conversations, and like having more and more of these conversations got me more and more interested in experimenting around this.
Awesome. You found a niche opportunity that you had observed in a more mature market. You thought of building on top of that in the Indian market. And like you correctly mentioned, Swiggy Instamart always delivers in those bioplastic bags. I've seen that as well. Very curious to know, okay, you tried something of your own, then joined Mesa, and that inspired you to join founder's office role post your graduation. How did that pan out?
So I always had the clarity of like at least the preference, if not clarity and preference, I would say, of joining a founder's office role. For me, from my conversations with other folks, I understood that founder's office role is very dynamic. It is able to give you experience across functions. As on the work is like almost ever changing, because there'll be like small project that you keep on working and delivering on, and then there'll be new functions that you'll be pulled into. So for me, like some based on my past and me as a person, this role spoke to me like very well. I like pace in work, and I like different function working across different functions and not like just specializing in one function. So that is why like I was very clear on like at least trying my best to end up in a founder's office role in a good company with like a good team. So even when I joined Mesa, I think at the very beginning I had my eyes set on this role, and I throughout the year at Mesa, I was working and building myself up to end up in this role and succeed in this role.
And that again, thought clarity that you had even during your stint at Mesa, that you wanted to join the founders of this kind of a role. Okay, so what was the interview process like? Because that's something that most of our audience is keen, because it is such a new and a unique role that there is no defined process. Every company practically has their own. Some of them have assignments, some of them don't. Few interview rounds, and then we are done. So could you help our audience understand what was the process like?
So typically in a founder's office role, like what they look for is the confidence in handling different projects, different timelines, and like managing all of it at the same time. So I think what essentially they look for is like having good communication skills, good expectation setting, good problem solving mindset. Yes, for me, my preparation involved all of these, like you practicing a lot of cases as well. And even what they look for is in the past, do you have some spikes? This is a concept in consulting, but
Yeah.
like you should have some stories and real experiences wherein you can prove them that, okay, you have the ability of working across functions in an environment that is very dynamic, like handling like a lot of responsibilities. For me, that involved me talking about my experience at Urban Company, where right out of college, I was leading a category and a team of it. And like I was able to successfully pilot the supply for the category after previous two failed attempts, and also able to scale it across multiple cities, launching it in multiple cities. So that was one thing. That even at Mesa, I did some projects. Like one project was with a climate tech company, one was with a fitness company. So they, even in those projects, I was working with different functions and like getting good execution done at the end of it. So that is one thing. So one side of it, I would break it down into three parts. One is like good communication and problem solving mindset. The second is having these good, rich experience in the past, which translates to the company or the interviewer having confidence in you being able to deliver something similar in their company. And the third is also relevance. So like Zamp is a fintech company and my background is in economics honors, and in Mesa also I did projects in fintech and a carbon finance company. So like these experiences also added that sectoral relevance to my application. So yeah, like I think these three things combined would increase the chances the maximum. So if let's say you analyze that, okay, where do you stand on each of these three buckets, and if needed, probably expand on some experience and like gain some deeper knowledge on these buckets, and like probably you can increase your chances of, yeah. And also like adding, this is like probably like from a very high level view that what do these folks look for. And my interview also, like doubling down on my interview process, it was 2 rounds of interview and 2 assignments. So I was really keen on joining Zamp, which is why I had researched about the company. I spoke with the employees before even reaching out to Zamp, and I did a lot of analysis and my research, which I created a deck on. So I first analyzed, okay, what is the pressing problem for Zamp right now, and where are they standing right now? So I understood that they are like trying to do GTM for one of their products. And then that's when I spoke with employees of its competitors, its own employees, and a lot of ground level research, and then presented those insights and then sent it as a cold outreach to the team.
Wow.
And yeah, that's,
You did this even though it was not really a part of your
I had no knowledge of this. And it was not even a standard assignment internally also. Once I joined, I realized like this is something that I just wanted to do because I wanted to show that, and that's what is required in the founder's office, and the ability to probably take risks, the ability to like just take those shots. So yeah, that landed me in a conversation. My first round of interview was there, in which they went deeper on my analysis and the deck that I had shared. They asked like some third order and fourth order questions on the deck to check if my reasoning and the thought process, it's not just surface level, and it's backed by strong analysis. So yes, that was there. They were like checking on my background, past experience, and like going deeper into that as well. That's was the first round. After the first round, it went well. The second round was with the founder, Amit. And even in that, he was very keen on looking at the deck. And like, he was like going, like asking some questions. Okay, why do you think so? Why not this? Yes, that. And yes, I think that was like first half of the interview. And the second half was also about the mindset, like, okay, what matters to me in my professional role, in work, what matters to me the most, what is like 2 year, 3 year goals, professional goals in your life. So such questions were there. So towards the end, it was more like a behavioral interview. First half was around my previous work ex and the presentation. Yeah, like after this round, they gave me another assignment, which was very finance heavy. It was around modeling and financial modeling, which I also did and sent it to them, and they were happy with that. And post which I got the offer.
Awesome. So if I were to summarize the kind of skill sets that they typically look for in a founder's office role is, like you said, having good communication skills, having certain spikes in your career, in your experience, which shows that you've done that, you've taken that ownership, you've shown those leadership skills like you had shown at Urban Company before, right? And if you have very strong analytical mindset, those ability to do deep research, not just shallow surface level, and taking those risks, taking those cold outreach, sending those cold emails, and sending them not just as an email, showing them that you're actually interested in the work. You went and spoke with its competitors, its users, its current employees. Wow, man, this is exceptionally good research. And if I was running a company, I would definitely hire a guy like you, because this shows the amount of the ownership that a person will take once they join. Hats off to your hard work in that, getting that role. It's really impressive. But yeah, I think just if you have any word of advice to the folks out there who are watching our video, anything, for example, if I'm a fresher right now, right? I'm in a lot of young folks these days want to join founder's office right out of college. So what would be your one takeaway, one advice, that should they gather some experience first and then try and get into a founder's office role? Should they do a founder's office internship somewhere? What would be your take?
So a couple of pointers there. One is that founder's office role also comes in two types. My role is more of the business generalist kind of a role. There's also like specialist founders office roles where like you'll be working closely with the founder, but like taking multiple projects inside a function. Maybe that function is finance, analytics. So I think like getting clarity on which kind of founder office speaks to you more. If you want to do it for a specific function, then yeah, like clarity on that is really important. So that would be like that would be one thing. And second is also in recent times, founders office has become like really hot in the market. A lot of companies are like posting like the name founders office role, but then if you really inquire about the work before joining in, it might not be that of founders office. It might be just like ops or something. So
Yeah.
that role,
Yeah.
yeah, that it might not give you that complete experience or like that working across different projects and those high impact work and projects in the organization. And yeah, you'll just have the title, but not meet that the good part of it, which is the good work. You might not get there. So I think getting clarity is very important with the company. And the other question that you asked, I don't think like you should like you if you gain experience, it increases your chances of getting into a good quality founders office role, 100%. Because typically it's hardly do people hire for a founders office role right on because there's a lot of work that you do that supports direct org level decision making. So like getting some experience, I would say would land you at a better founders office role, so to speak. So that I would 100% echo my thoughts on. Yeah.
Got it. Interesting. And I think our audience would love to maybe reach out to you on LinkedIn. So I'll probably leave your LinkedIn down below and they can have a word with you. And I think this was phenomenally insightful. Thank you so much for sharing that, man. I think those are the most of the questions that I had. We'll probably leave it to the audience to send any comments or if they have any more targeted questions, I'll reach out to you and we can take it from there. But once again, thank you so much for joining today, Mayank. Really appreciate it. I know you have a deadline today that you're working. So really appreciate you taking time out for this and hope to stay in touch. To our audience, all the best for your upcoming interviews, upcoming preparation. And until the next episode, all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ajit, for having me. That's great.